Hi, I'm John Ray, and welcome to the Thriving Podcast. I'm your host and intuitive coach, dedicated to amplifying your intuition, transforming your mind, and igniting your inner magic to create a life you're obsessed with. 2 years ago, I was burnt out as fuck in a toxic relationship and a successful tech career that I just wasn't happy in anymore. I left it all behind with no plan, and now I'm running my own business, immersed in purpose and passion, happily married to my soulmate, and living out my dreams every single day. And if you're badass enough to be listening to this podcast, then you're already on the fast track to doing the same, babe. On this podcast, we'll dive into all things life, business, heart, mind, body, and soul, empowering you to uplevel your life and embody your happiest, healthiest, and hottest self. It's time to make idealistic your new realistic, because you're not just here to survive, you're here to thrive. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Thriving Thursday, my beautiful angels, beautiful podcast loves. Okay, so isn't it just so fun how you want to do something, but it's just not coming through. It's just not clicking. And then as soon as you let go of like, I want to do this, or I'm trying to figure this out, basically as soon as you just surrender and stop trying to force it, it's like, bam, just, oh, here it is on a silver platter. Exactly what I was trying to do. I just had to like forget about it and pretend I didn't want to do it anymore to to get the inspiration for exactly what I wanted to do, and just really like trusting the timing, because I'm going away, as a lot of you know. I'm gonna be on vacation for like 3 weeks, and I was like, it'd be so easy and cool if I could just do like a 3-week kind of mini series, and I could just like knock it all out at once and then just split it up into 3 episodes, and then it feels cohesive, and then, I don't have to worry about. And because I feel like for me, I may have mentioned this before on the podcast or anywhere, but I am like very like, I need the energy to be alive with what I'm talking about. I don't like you. This is exactly why I still haven't put out that episode about the manifestation beliefs, because like if I record something and then I don't post it like soon after that, yeah, I've definitely talked about this on the podcast before, then like I'm like, the energy is stale, like it doesn't feel alive to me anymore. And it's like I don't want to return to it until like something reignites that topic in me. Often that's how it works with me. So that's why like I don't content batch. Like that's not how I flow. But so this for me helps because it's like one living thing. And so this way, by like just creating it all at once and then splitting it up, I won't feel as much resistance to, say, like instead if I were to record 3 episodes on 3 different topics, it feels more disconnected, if that makes sense. Like if I'm then posting an episode I recorded 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be like, no, like that just doesn't feel fun and fresh anymore. I don't know if this makes sense to anybody, but that is how I like roll. So like even with the, manifestation beliefs one, the reason I haven't come back to it yet is because I know when I post it, I'm going to need to go back and basically like fresh record at least some parts to infuse fresh energy. And like also my perspective and my like wisdom is always changing and growing and evolving. And so yeah, I'm basically just like very passionate about like keeping things fun and fresh and like up to date and keeping the energy alive. All that to say, I wanted to do a mini series for that reason, for when I was away. And I just didn't have any inspiration for it. I was like, I don't know what I want to talk about. And so then I just kind of like this keeps happening with the podcast, because that I'm very much like, I'm going to wait for the inspiration. And like, I end up recording last minute a lot of the time because it's not there. And then it like suddenly just hits and it's there. So I did actually have like this random inspiration for one standalone episode. But then today I had this all drop in for this little series. So I'm going to save that and probably come back to it. It was on burnout. It was like a very randomly, like divinely inspired episode as well, but I feel way more passionate about this. So I'm going to put this out first. Anyway, this dropped in because, as you may or may not know, I just finished up running Hot Girl CEO Summer, my 2-week, I called it a business manifestation accelerator. It was like, honestly, just like a 2-week quantum leap accelerator. Like it was so epic, so potent, so incredible. Definitely my most successful launch to date. And that's why I felt inspired to do this series, because of basically like, okay, I just had this huge success And I want to tell you about it and about how I achieved that success, right? Like what led to that being so epic. And at first I was like, is this like marketing secrets or like, hot top marketing tips? And then as I was like taking notes, it kind of started to evolve. And I was like, no, this is a 3-part series of launch success secrets. Like everything I did to make this launch my most successful launch. Yeah, so I'm really excited because we haven't really gotten like down and dirty with business stuff yet on the podcast. We kind of been keeping it more general. And so what I'm going to do with this series is today we're going to do part 1, which is going to be the 5 top energetic keys or secrets to the success of my launch. So this will be energetic, and the next one will be the strategic top tips. And then the part 3 is going to be the post-launch, quote unquote, which is really just like offer delivery, which we'll talk about when we get to that episode. But we'll also talk about how that's not only a part of the launch, but your offer delivery is also actually like part of your pre-launch for your next launch. Or if you're like doing your launch the right way, not like that there's a quote unquote right way for anything, but if you're like being strategic about it, then your offer delivery, your post-launch will actually also kind of double as a pre-launch for your next launch. And that's how you kind of keep momentum rolling. So that's part 3 is going to be about. So I'm really excited. First of all, I also just want to give a disclaimer because much of my launch knowledge that I embodied and integrated throughout this process that comes naturally to me now did not always come naturally to me. And I have to credit my coach, Nora Virginia, at I am Nora Virginia on Instagram, because she has an epic launching course called Full Throttle. And I think you actually maybe can still join. She's running it live right now, I know. But I think you can join and like kind of do not fully live, like do it at your own pace. So I highly recommend taking her course because she covers literally everything you need to know about launching. And of course, everything I'm going to share with you today is, kind of different angles and just like filtered through my own experience and my own intuition and my own wisdom and everything like that. But definitely, I got such a solid foundation of just understanding like what launching even entails to even be able to get to this point from taking that course a while ago. So highly recommend that course if you really feel like you don't understand the ins and outs of launching. So with that said, let's just get into part 1, which is the top 5 energetic keys to a successful launch that led me to my most successful launch to date, which was a group program that I filled with 8 incredible women, and not just incredible women, but truly ideal dream clients who were so engaged, so all in, just literally everything you would want a client to be in your program, right? Because there's a big difference between filling a program and filling a program with dream clients, right? And filling a program with like epic people. And my last group program launch was last October. I was about, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, like 3 or 4 months into my business. I didn't really know what I was doing. I like kind of knew what I was doing. I really didn't have the energetic piece on lock. I understood the strategy more. I didn't have the energetic piece. So I know a lot of times in business, which obviously this is like, I'm so huge on business energetics, obviously, but we can get really kind of sucked in and distracted with the strategy. And we neglect the energetic part. And the energetic part is honestly like so much more important than the strategy. So I really, really feel like the differences that I'm going to share in this episode are what truly set this launch apart from that last launch that I wouldn't consider a failed launch. But for context, I had 2 people sign up total for that group, and one of them ended up dropping out before we even started. And then the second one ended up not really participating. She basically dropped off after like the second week, and it was an 8-week group. So yeah, as opposed to this program where I had 8 women, almost all of them were super participative and engaged and all in and had insane, massive growth. And yeah, we're just like there was just a completely different energy around not just the launch, but around the program. And, the energy that comes through in the program is going to be dictated, not dictated, but dictated. I want a sparklier word. Shout out, Sam. It's going to be, dictated is the only word that's coming through right now, although I know there's another word that I want to use. But it's going to be dictated and impacted by the energy of your launch, right? Like that is going to carry through into the program. So the energetics of your launch are so crucial and important. And I filled this program in 2 weeks. Honestly, I think over half of the girls joined within the first 3 days of me promoting it. So to give you any context of that, my last launch for the other program was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks long. And again, I had like 2 people jump in. I think the second one that ended up dropping out jumped in like near the end of the program. It is easy again to look like from a 3D level and be like, well, this program was shorter and it was less of a commitment and it cost less. And that did affect the success of it, but not for the reasons you think. So I'm going to get into that when we get into the reasons. But the reason is because I actually wasn't aligned with what I was offering last time. And I actually didn't have the confidence to charge what I was charging, to get behind what I was charging. And I didn't have the capacity to actually show up for that big of a container at that time. And so that is actually why and how the length and commitment and investment of your offer will affect the results. It's not actually because of the tangible 3D. It's just about how aligned it is to you energetically. So we're going to get into that in a little bit though, a little more. So I also want to say that last launch that was way less successful in every sense of the word. And like success doesn't mean just results. It's like, what did you gain from it? And how did you feel about it? Like it doesn't necessarily just mean how many people joined or how much money did you make from it? It's again, like what kind of offer delivery you get out of it? What kind of engagement and participation did you get out of it? And how did you feel in the launch? And that last launch, it felt so forced to me. And I was working so hard and so much harder than I needed to. It just felt forced. That's the best word I can use. Like I felt like I was pulling and I felt needy and I was overthinking. And this launch could not have been smoother, could not have felt flowier, could not have been easier. And that is really, really because of what I'm going to dive into with these top 5 energetic launching keys, launching secrets to success. So number 1, to just get right into it, is always hype the fuck up about this launch and about this program because I felt so freaking confident about what I was offering. And so this is kind of let your energy speak for itself, part 1. Two of these tips I basically divided into a part 1 and part 2. So it's like kind of like 3 tips, but really 5, or it's like 5 tips, but 3, however you want to look at it. So let your energy speak for itself. Part 1 is really about your confidence in what you are offering. So my last program, I didn't necessarily feel confident that I was going to be able to get results. And I also didn't exactly know what I was going to be offering. I hadn't like planned out or forecasted, even what I really was going to be talking about week to week, and not that you necessarily have to have like a whole outlined plan, like I didn't have that for this program either, but I had just a much better idea and understanding of what the vibe was going to be, what the intention of the container was going to be, what I wanted them to get out of it, and what I really knew I wanted to cover and talk about. Like I had confidence in that I was going to be able to deliver exactly that. So there's a huge difference between I want to offer this, or I think people like would like this, or I think this sounds cool and I'm going to offer this, versus and not feeling actually super confident in your ability to deliver like an epic badass program on that thing or in that way, and kind of being shaky in your belief in yourself and like, yeah, like this will be cool. Like you have to really kind of check yourself when you go into launching something. This is like the first and foremost thing. And a lot of these tips energetically are actually around like, before you even get into the launch. It's really about like that kind of like pre-launch period and that decision-making process almost of like, what are you even launching? And really tapping into intuition with that. And if you aren't feeling confident in what you're offering and what you're launching, it's like digging into like, okay, well, why don't I feel confident with this? Is it because this offer isn't aligned? Is it because I feel like I don't actually know what this is going to entail and I'm trying to sell something and I don't even know what it is? Oh my God, I cannot tell you how many times early on in my business, I would announce things that I had like not planned at all. I had not created at all. I had no idea what it really was. I would just be like, oh, this sounds good. Like, hey, I have this masterclass coming up. And then I'd be like scrambling to plan the masterclass last minute, or like, hey, like I'm going to offer this thing. And then I would even be like, oh, I'll wait and see if anyone shows up before I, kind of commit to like I'll figure it out when I have to kind of thing, like you are not going to be confident if you don't actually understand what you're offering, and that's not only going to come through in your energy, it's going to come through in your messaging too, right? Like if you don't actually understand what am I offering and why should people join, and you don't actually feel super confident that it's a good decision for them to join and it's worth the investment, and you know that they're going to have epic transformation. And again, not even just for coaching, but like for anything, like if you have a podcast and you kind of are feeling shaky and you're like, I don't really know if that was a great episode. I felt kind of awkward. I don't know if that was that valuable. And you're like trying to advertise people to listen to your podcast episode. That's going to come through in your energy that you're not really confident that was a badass fucking podcast episode. Whatever you're creating, whatever kind of art you have or whatever kind of service you're offering, it's like, how confident are you in the value of what you're offering? And that will come through in your energy and it will show how excited you are about it. I always say energy speaks louder than words. I made a reel about this a little while ago, actually, that did really well. And I basically was saying, like, when it comes to sales, like literally all you have to do is be confident. This is actually, I was talking about this when I was launching my Keys to Confidence Masterclass. And I was like talking about how confidence literally is just the key to everything, because again, people feel your energy. Energy speaks louder than words. And so like I could sit here and tell you that my program is really awesome and like you should really join it because like you're gonna totally get great results from it. And you're going to be like, no way am I joining her program. Like I wouldn't even join that for free because she's clearly not confident in what she's offering. Like you feel the energy and the insecurity from me, and that makes you not feel confident in it. But on the other hand, when I'm like talking about my program, I'm like, this is going to literally be so fucking epic. And I literally feel lit up and I am like buzzing as I'm telling you about it. I'm like not even saying anything specific about it, but you can just feel my energy and you can see my body language even, right? And you can hear it in my voice and you can like feel how embodied I am in it. You are going to feel that energy and that is going to draw you to it and increase your confidence, because you will always reflect back the confidence to the person that is selling to you, right? Like energy, like by me being so confident in my program, I am actually lifting others up to that frequency and aligning them to that frequency of having that level of confidence in my program, even without being that strategic or being that specific about what it even entails. Okay, so long story short, let your energy speak for itself. Energy speaks louder than words all day, every day. And if you are not confident in what you're offering, no one else is going to be confident. And that is the number one thing that you need to make sure you have, is being so freaking confident that what you are offering is valuable as fuck and it's going to be fucking epic and people will be lucky to be a part of it. Be hyped the fuck up about what you are offering and let that energy shine through. And let me just tell you too, before we move on to number 2, literally at least half the girls in this program, I asked them in my market research, I was like, or in their opening reflection, I was like, what drew you to this program? And half of them were like, honestly, like, I don't even know. I really had no idea what I was signing up for. I just loved your energy and I wanted that energy. Or you just drew me in. I just felt like I had to be a part of this container. I literally did not even know what it was. They were just like, sign me up for that energy. I want the vibes. Like that was literally what drew them to the container. So your energy can literally be that powerful. And they even told me in the container, like just your energy is so magnetizing and just being around your energy just lifted me higher, So it's like, this is when it comes to really just like being magnetic, I talk about this so much in business, is like just letting your energy radiate and do the speaking for you, like do the communication for you. It can be in your offers. It can be marketing your offers. Again, obviously there is actually so much value on top of that, but that is just so, so huge. And so that just goes to show how impactful that really was with this container. And the truth is, like, that was because I was embodying my message, which is kind of getting into part 2 of this. Tip number 2 is let your energy speak for yourself, part 2, in terms of literally embodying the message that you are communicating with this program. So like, what is it? What is the breakthrough you want people to have? What is the transformation you want people to have? What are the results that you want people to get through, whether it's listening to your podcast, doing your coaching program, consuming your content, coming to your classes, taking your course, whatever it is? What is the outcome that you want them to get? Like what is that A to B? What is the B, right? Like what is the dream here? And if you're not embodying that every day, living that in your life, embodying those principles, they again will feel that in your energy, right? And so it's like, honestly, they go hand in hand, because if you're not embodying that, you're not going to feel confident when you're talking about it. But when you are embodying it, not only does the confidence come effortlessly, but the inspiration comes effortlessly, and they feel it from you. So the reason I wanted to make this its own thing in terms of embodiment, you guys know I'm huge on embodiment, is because content for actually marketing this program was so freaking easy for me, because I was just literally living it every single day. And like, I was joking because it was like Hot Girl CEO summer, and I would go on my Hot Girl walk every day and literally just vibe to the playlist that I made to give to the group. And I would just like be vibing and be like, oh my God, I have a great idea for a reel. And I would just take a video of myself dancing on my walk. And I was literally alive in that energy, fully embodying like what it means to me to live, to like be in that Hot Girl CEO energy. And I would just post the video. And I literally didn't even like go through messaging for my program or like outlining the outcomes or anything like that. I was just like, literally the goal of the program is for you to be in this vibe all the time and to be around this energy to lift you into that vibe. And like, I was calling it a vibe container, And so it's like also making sure that your marketing strategies are aligned to the message of whatever it is that you're offering, Like if you're offering something vibey, then like you want to be really vibey in your marketing strategy. If you're offering something that's very strategic and structured and, like very kind of educational, again, not that this wasn't educational, but again, it was like very sparkly, like that was the vibe of it. So I wasn't going to be doing marketing strategies that like felt super structured and like more that kind of vibe. I was going to be doing marketing strategies that match the vibe of the program I'm actually offering. And because I was embodying all the values of what I was going to be sharing with them and the transformation they were going to be undergoing within my container, they felt that, and they literally felt the energy of what they can get from being a part of this program. So yeah, number 1 is let your energy speak for yourself by being hyped the fuck up and feeling truly, genuinely confident in what you're saying and what you're offering and the value of your program. Number 2, let your energy speak for itself by embodying your message and embodying the transformation that you are promising, or embodying the lesson or the message or whatever it is, embodying the value of your program essentially, or embodying the value of your product, your offer, whatever it is. Again, I know we're not all coaches or like having necessarily programs or things like that, but this applies to, even if you're selling freaking cell phones. I'm thinking back to Better Call Saul, because honestly, if you haven't watched Better Call Saul, it is like I feel like it would be so fun to do like a masterclass breaking down sales and marketing from what we can learn from Better Call Saul, because he's just such a natural. But like when he's selling the cell phones, like he is literally embodying the value of his program because he's using the phones. It's like, imagine like you have a product that you're selling and you don't even use it yourself. Like you are naturally disconnected from your message. People are going to feel a lack of authenticity in what you're saying, because it's like, if you're not living this every day, like how much do you really believe in it, And they feel that energy. And then also, again, like the inspiration just comes so effortlessly. People ask me all the time, like, how do I know what to post about? And it's like, you don't have to think about it if you're living it, because the inspiration is just flowing endlessly every single day. Like, it's like, oh my God, like literally I did this today and that was so Hot Girl CEO of me, or like, oh my God, like it's just like looking at like how am I living my life, and the lessons will just like drop in, and the inspiration will just be like, oh my God, like people need to know this, people need to know this, because you're eating, sleeping, and breathing it, literally. So basically just like soak up the energy of the value you are offering as much as possible, embody it, express it, and let the energy speak for itself. It will make the entire launching process so much easier, because nothing will have to be forced, because again, it is literally just your way of life. You are living it, and people will feel that and witness that and reflect that back to you. Number 3 is another 2-parter. So is basically you have to tap into intuition to determine what you want to offer. And what I really mean by this is I see this so much is, and I fell into this so much as well. I don't know if anyone if you remember seeing me talk about this on Instagram, but I was going to offer a course, like an 8-week group course program, whatever. Basically everything I talked about and like taught in Hot Girl CEO Summer, business energetics, and identity embodiment, and all of that fun stuff. But it was going to be like a course, and I really actually didn't want to do a course. Deep down, like intuitively, that just didn't feel aligned to me. But I was like, what else would I do? Like, everyone does courses in the coaching space. Like, how else would I even offer it, you know? But I was just feeling not excited about it. And I could tell something felt off. And so I wasn't super moving forward with it. And I didn't really know why. And I was thinking, and I actually initially was going to do something similar to Hot Girl CEO Summer, but kind of pared down with like less value as like a free launch accelerator. I was going to do like a little group chat with a few trainings, no live calls or anything like that. It was basically going to be like a pared down version for free to lead into the course. So I was like thinking, okay, why do I not feel good about what I'm like this offer and this launch coming up? You know, I don't feel excited. I don't feel aligned. And I know enough now to recognize that as a red flag, you know, and to not try to force my way through that, because again, it's not going to be successful if it's not aligned. And I was thinking, okay, well, the launch accelerator part feels good still. Like that feels really fun, but the course part doesn't. And I realized like, I just, again, didn't feel like doing that kind of like educational like course aspect. Like that's great. That's where some people thrive and shine. And maybe I will feel called to that at some point in the future. But just at this point in time, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I needed. And honestly, I wasn't feeling called to a long-term container at this point in time either. You know, I wanted something fun and fresh, spicy, short, potent, you know, accelerator. And that's why the launch accelerator felt so fun to me. And so I essentially was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to just ditch the course. You know, I don't feel like making slides. And this other thing is like, I could have been like, you know, all right, well, can I do a course without slides? You know, like remember that you can always like, how do you want to adjust it to make it more you? And it's really disconnecting from like, what does everyone else do? What does everyone else say? What does everyone else think? What have you seen done before? And just being like, what do I want to do though? And remembering, like I always say, that you make the rules in your business. You make the rules. So you can literally do whatever you want. So I could have done a course without the slides, but that still didn't feel good to me, because really I just wanted something shorter and like fun and fresh and potent. And it wasn't the vibe for me at the time to do a longer commitment kind of course. And also it wasn't the vibe for me at the time to do a high ticket, because I realized going into number 4, which is kind of part 2 of tapping into your intuition, is not only do you have to tap into your intuition to determine what you want to offer, like what kind of offer you want to do in terms of the transformation, the delivery, and all of that, but also in terms of your pricing and what your intention behind the offer is. So these are kind of different, because, you know, number 3 is basically like, make sure that what you're offering is what you want to offer and not what you feel like you should be offering. I was just talking to a client the other day who, you know, she was like feeling like she didn't want to commit, and she was like, didn't know what she wanted to commit her time to. And it was because she was feeling like she had to commit time to coaching, when really she wanted to commit her time intuitively to going all in on her art and her content creation, right? And so it's just like, when you recognize that, you're able to give yourself permission to be like, okay, actually, maybe a lot of other people do coaching, and maybe I've done coaching in the past, but intuitively, that's just not what I feel called to right now. And I don't actually want to dedicate my time and energy to that. I want to go all in this other thing, even though I might have fear around it, even though maybe I don't have as much physical, tangible proof that this will be successful. Like just knowing that by following your intuition, you are increasing your chances of success so much more. So tapping into your intuition in that way, determining what you want to offer, but then tapping in terms of details, pricing, and really why are you offering this? And this is super important to get clear on because sometimes we have different intentions around different offers. And basically what I mean by that is maybe you really just want like a quick cash injection and you're like, this will be fun. This will be easy. And I know it'll bring in some cash flow. And that I really right now, what I just need is something like quick and easy that'll like, give me a boost in cash influx or in income. That's an income revenue, whatever. Sometimes you really just need something that's going to be a confidence booster, right? You're like, you know what? I just like feel like I need something that's going to be fun and fresh or something that's going to like be free but build my confidence, or something that's going to be just in that middle ground, just like really asking like, what do I need right now? Because like what you launch and what you're offering, it's serving you as much as it's serving your clients or your community, right? Or whoever you're reaching. And so you have to really ask yourself intuitively, like, what is my intention with this? And sometimes it might also be, actually, I'm ready to just like go all in and have a really big launch and it's going to be epic. And I do want to offer a big container with like a big investment and a big commitment. And I'm ready for this, but I realized for me that I had been basically trying to force myself to that point and I wasn't there energetically. Like I had been trying to offer these high ticket longer commitment containers and I wasn't there. I didn't actually feel like I had the capacity. I didn't actually have the full confidence in myself that I would deliver on it or that I could attract the clients I wanted for them. And so I was trying to like force myself there and jump across the room. I've been using this analogy so much lately. I was trying to jump across the room to, like the 20K launch and this and that. And it was like, actually, like I just needed to experience a container like this that was so potent with these dream clients to just cast some votes to my brain. Like, look at the kind of clients you actually can attract. Like, look at the high caliber clients that you draw in and look how impactful this 2-week container was. And like, look how easy it was to make money in your business, because my income has been honestly pretty inconsistent, and I just needed to kind of cast these votes for myself into my brain to like gather that evidence and like feel align to it more energetically and feel more comfortable in my system of having all these things before I could actually expand into holding that at a higher level. You know what I mean? So I realized, I have been you'll hear a lot of the time people talking about pricing and saying like, charge your worth and like raise your prices and you're undercharging because you don't believe in yourself, this and that. And basically I heard that and I was like, oh, like I need to charge high because I know my work is valuable, but I actually wasn't like energetically behind that yet. Like you have to kind of expand yourself slowly over time to, align to higher and higher price points and higher and higher, bigger and bigger experiences. And it's not that you can't do the work to align yourself energetically to those higher price points. But basically, I realized I wasn't charging high from intuition. I was charging high from ego. I wasn't actually charging high because I knew my work was worth that much, even though I do know my work is worth that much. I know it might sound confusing, but just stay with me. That wasn't where my motivation to charge high was coming from. It was actually coming from a place of lack because I was like, well, I need to get to this point where I'm making full-time income in my business and I need to make more money. Therefore, I must charge high. And it was actually coming from a place of need and lack. It wasn't actually coming from intuition and belief. And so actually for me, the shift I needed at this time was actually, I don't need the money. It actually feels more abundant for me to offer this container for a low price point because I don't need the money. And this is just about me being of service and me having a positive experience. And it's about the vibes and it's about the confidence and it's about the energy for me. So getting so clear on what actually my intention of the container was and giving myself permission for that to be my intention and to kind of let go of the more egoic desires is actually what allowed me to open up to align to the higher price point again. For like now, my next offer is going to be a higher ticket again. And now I feel aligned to that energetically, and it feels abundant to me. And it actually is being driven from intuition as opposed to from a place of need or lack. But I actually needed that stepping stone in between to get there. So that is why it is so important to tap into your intuition for every aspect of your offer and your launch. Let me take a drink of water. All right. And number 5 is be patient and consistent. I said, I booked out the program in 2 weeks, and actually like more than half the women joined in the first 3 days. And we use those as hooks a lot of the time, like look at these quick results I got. But it's so important to remember that it wasn't actually 2 weeks. It wasn't actually 3 days. It was the entire past year that I've been in business, all contributing leading up to this point. I was patient throughout this entire past year, and I was slowly building community, and I was putting my message out there every single day, and I was growing and learning and embodying more and more of my message and integrating the lessons I was learning, to actually get to this point where I was, one, not able to actually embody and integrate and follow all of those previous 4 tips that I just shared with you, but where I have actually like built this community and warmed up this community, like over time, and actually built relationships with these people that jumped in. And I will say, there's miracles everywhere. And it's really actually fun and interesting to break down like all the girls in my group and like how they found me and how our relationship built, because there are some people that I found through mutual connections, people that I actually found back in the beginning of my business when I was doing like, cold outreach strategy. And there were people that I found because, like I know people that shared stuff for me, and then like we connected. And there are people that like, I don't even know how they found me. They just like randomly followed me one day and joined, and I actually don't know, or like basically what I'm saying is the women that were in this program have all been a part of my community for different lengths of time. There's some people that have been in my community for almost since the beginning of my business, for since last year, who just joined my community in the past 2 months. And so just remembering that you never really know what's happening on the other side of the screen or on the other side of anything. Even if you don't have an online business, like you don't know how other people are perceiving you. And we talked about this in the last Daily Vitamins for Hot Girl CEO Summer today, but you don't know like what people are taking from you, and you don't know who your message is actually reaching, and you don't know who actually needs, your program or your work or what you have to offer or your voice or your energy. And basically you're harshing your own vibe, and you're kind of like squashing, your light and your energy from shining and spreading and radiating by thinking that you do know, like kind of like projecting onto other people like, oh, they're not interested, or oh, they didn't sign up for this, so they're never going to want to be a part, or they didn't like this or whatever. One of the girls, I had a free call with her months ago, and I actually remember after the call feeling like not super confident, and I was like, I actually don't know like if I did that great on that call. I feel like I don't know how much I helped her, like I feel like I could have done better. And I didn't actually feel super confident. And little did I know that she actually got a lot out of that call and had been like continuing to follow me and really like thinking behind the scenes like that she wanted to work with me more, and ended up joining this program. And we really had, deepened our relationship, and she got so many beautiful results and such an amazing transformation from it. And it's like, if I had just given up because of like not even a bad experience, it was really just my own like insecurity projecting onto the experience, and I had just like went down with that story basically at any point in my business and said like, oh, that didn't go well, or that person I don't think was interested, and like given up or stopped being as consistent as I was, and like, or stopped nurturing relationships or stopped showing up, I wouldn't have gotten to this point. So like, I really just wanted to make sure, I know it's like the oldest thing in the book, but to mention that because that is so important, especially when it comes to like the energetics, is like just being patient and consistent. Like if I had not gone through that group launch back in October and learned what I learned from it, I wouldn't have gotten here. If I had not gone through the launches that I went through like throughout the earlier part of the year where I didn't actually get any signups on the launch I did in February, but I learned a lot about like myself, and I proved to myself that I can really show up. And I also, in that launch, integrated a lot of lessons that like now are so natural for me that I actually brought into this container. And so just remembering again that every single experience along the way is necessary for you to get to where you want to go. Nothing is a waste of time. Nothing is a waste of energy. Nothing is a waste of experience. It is all a part of getting you there. And every single day of my life and my business, from the day that I launched, and even every single day of my life from before I started my business, has led me to this point, having this successful launch. And so just really literally just trusting the process and not giving up and being patient. And even if you had a launch and you feel discouraged and you didn't get the results you were hoping for, just remembering that that wasn't a failure. It was simply a lesson leading you to the next successful launch, and it's really just like, what even is success and failure? It's all the meaning you apply to it, and just don't give up. So that is really those are the top 5 energetic keys to the success of this past launch that I truly believe are the keys to success in any launch. And honestly, in part 2, we are going to talk about the top 5 strategic keys, but the episodes are going to probably be a lot shorter because you guys know me, like energy is just so huge, and you could get all the strategy in the world if you don't have these energetic pieces on lock and so deeply integrated and embodied. It's going to be a lot harder for you. And yeah, success, it may come, but it will not come as easily, and you will likely not enjoy it or receive it in the way that you're desiring to if you are not energetically aligned to it. So highly recommend focusing on these pieces first. But with that said, in the next episode, part 2, I will be just sharing the top 5 simple, you guys know I like simple, strategic keys to my launch success with this launch as well, because again, they definitely help. I'm not saying that they're not important. They're definitely helpful, but as always, intuition, energy, filter through strategic lens. And when you get all of this energetic stuff unlocked, the strategic stuff just comes so much more naturally, I promise you. So that's what we're going to get into in next week, part 2, which I'm going to go record right now. Also, with that said, I did want to let you know, so if this really lands with you, if you like my approach to business, if you feel like you don't have this energetic piece unlocked and you really want to work on your energy and your embodiment and your confidence and learning how to tap into your intuition and lead your business intuitively and really just amplify your magic, your momentum, your magnetism, and all of that good stuff. If you felt FOMO with Hot Girl CEO Summer, I am launching a business mastermind coming up in fall, which I am so excited about. It's essentially going to be all the vibes of Hot Girl CEO Summer. You've heard me talking about it and you've been like, man, I wish I was involved in that. I just really wanted on that energy. It's going to be all the vibes, but just even more expansive. It is going to be a longer container. It's going to be very high touch, high proximity. It's going to be a 6-month container. But if you hop in now, then you get to basically start working with me early. So that's why the pre-sale is so epic. That's why I'm mentioning it now, even though it's not launching until October, is because I do have limited pre-sale spots available with some super, super juicy bonuses, extremely discounted, like over $1,000 off. And yeah, a bunch of extra super fun bonuses to basically get to start working with me early. And it is a premiere round of the mastermind. So obviously you don't know much about it. It's the first time I'm running it. So you really are just taking a leap of faith if you were to hop in this early. But like I always love to say, if intuition says yes, let the universe do the rest. And the universe loves to reward you for following your intuition. And it really is just like the better it gets, the better it gets. So if you're interested in the mastermind, it is really for those of you that are ready to just go all in on your business, on your growth, stop half-assing your growth, and just own the fuck out of your gifts, your magic, your authenticity, to scale your business intuitively and really just amplify your impact and your income with confidence. We talked about that confidence, tip number 1, and consistency, and just feeling sparkly AF while doing it. Just living the Hot Girl CEO way, really, like that energy of that container is just, it's like that was the seed for this beautiful program that is now going to flourish in this beautiful community and group that I'm calling in. So I'm so excited to have you. If you're curious about that at all or have any questions, just shoot me a DM. And with that said, I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Go smash your lunch, energetics. As always, if you like this episode, if you think it would be helpful to anybody that you know, or you want to share it out and spread the love, would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a rate and review. If you haven't already, let me know what you thought about the episode. Don't forget to stop, take a deep breath, and smile. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.